So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Roots and Routes with Daniel. This is a platform where we engage with real people, real stories, real experiences. And these experiences will be able to motivate us so that we can be able to see what's happening outside our own locality. So, welcome to yet another episode with our very special guest from quite a far away. Welcome to the channel, Mr. Lumbasi.
Thank you so much.
So, how do you find the UK so far?
Yeah, it's a warm place. It's homely. People are welcoming, and I want to say thank you so much for keeping living together as a Kenyan community and being hospitable to one another. So this is a great moment to be here in the UK.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So welcome. At least you came in when it was warm. You should have come during winter time. Yeah, because the temperatures can be very cold here. So yeah. So karibu sana. So Mr. Lumbasi, tell us about yourself, your journey. Who is you? Who are you?
Yeah, thank you so much. That's an open check. I don't know how far it should go. My name is Mr.Lumbasi. Currently, I serve at the Embassy of Kenya in Washington, D.C. as an education attache. And previously, I've served in the Ministry of Education as head of the Director of Policy, Partnerships and East Africa Community Affairs. And prior to that, I have overseen and supervised various projects funded by the World Bank and the Africa Development Bank, as well as the national government, which have had a great impact in the education sector. And also being a policy maker, I've been able to oversee crafting of the national education sector plan, the sessional papers, and various policies, especially in gender, that have had long-lasting impact that are transformational in nature. And in that also, I've also been able to oversee a lot of leadership in various universities. And being in the university sector, I think I was able to oversee the expansion of the university sector, especially from the initial 7 universities to now more than 35 universities and university colleges all put together. And this has seen an increase in the enrollment, especially from the initial 3% to almost 10%. So we are still growing large, and we look forward that this is going to make a big and a huge impact. I was also part of crafting of the rebranding of the TVET strategy for the TVET sector that has brought in issues to do with the meaningful skills among our youth for employment. And this is transforming not only Kenya, but the entire Africa. So I want to really appreciate my journey in service. And this stems from the inspiration I've had initially as a teacher, just starting as a teacher and seeing into it that education really matters, and seeing the changes in the lives of many young people who have made it just because of education. And I think that's the much I can say for now. And now I have the great opportunity to oversee fully the crafting of an experience in education diplomacy, bringing in matters to do with the strong collaborations between the West and Kenya, and leveraging on the North-South collaborations to ensure that there is a big transition in the education and training, and also for the meaningful employment with strong collaborations with the employers or the industry.
You're welcome. That's a very, very rich experience. Yeah, at least to our viewers, this is a very, very engaging conversation that you're not supposed to miss, because this is a person that has a lot of experiences, all the way from being a teacher, all the way to policy making, all the way to diplomacy. So it's a very big experiences that we're going to learn from today. Tell us, just in brief, I'll just break it down from the experiences that you've explained there. Being a teacher.
Yeah, I think being a teacher was the is the most important productive part of my life, because the only time you're able to see the actual product of your service in life. Because as a young teacher, I joined St. Joseph's Girls in Kitale.
St. Joseph Kitale. So you're teaching there
in 1998. That's the time we were just separated, the boys' school and the girls' school. And I was able to see these girls excel and emerge among the top 100 schools in Kenya. So with mathematics and physics being among the lead subjects that I was teaching. Then I was employed in Kisii. When I went to Kisii, I was able to have an experience of being given now a day school. From a national school to a day school of less than 100 students, and I was with a mini score of less than 2 point, which in fact it was 1.82, and seeing it grow within 3 years to a mini score of 6.4, and seeing more than 50% of my students transition to university. That's a big plus. So with that, I can be able to see that was the most fulfilling part of my life, being able to teach. And these are a community that I still exist, and we still have relationship with my students. Whenever we meet with them, they're able to say, oh, I am what I am because of you. And that's what teaching in high school meant. But in between, I was privileged also to teach at the Kenyan Institute of Management and universities, which also made a lasting impact. Being among the founding lecturers at the Kabarak University was also fulfilling. And I think when I look back at Kabarak University, what it is today, I see it is God, and it's a big contribution in my life, and I see it as a success story, because I think having education in a biblical way has had a lasting impact and influencing servant leadership that I have practiced in life as a Christian. I think that's another very fulfilling moment. And based on these milestones of teaching, I was able to be promoted to be an inspector of schools, a quality assurance officer. And I went back to Cherengani.
Went back to the Ministry of Education.
Yes, as an inspector of schools. Going up the mountains and the slopes, riding a motorbike 175. Yes, doing as a zono inspector was also another very fulfilling moment. I think Cherengani was among lowest points in terms of being ranked, in terms of performance. And I was able to see it grow and compete favorably. Within a year, we were able to have big schools emerge and being ranked favorably nationally. So among them was Goseta, we have Bwake, St. Mark. So all through, I can say education is big. And I am what I am just because of the service in education. And I think that's something that I can be proud of. One, being a fulfilling teacher, and also supporting the teachers now in the teaching and mentoring these teachers has had a long-lasting impact, right from Cherengani coming to Nakuru, and even at the national level.
So allow me to ask a specific question here that I'm really interested in when you're giving your introduction part on you took part in formation of universities from the quantity that were it was during Kibaki's time when we had few major universities, but now we had universities everywhere. They were giving charters to university. So tell us about that transition from the few universities that we could mention, that including like Moi, Nairobi University, Kenyatta University, just to name but a few. But now we have universities everywhere, in every county.
So when I joined the university sector way back in 2012, I think this was a very good moment in terms of one, participating in coming up with the national education sector policy. That is the sessional paper number 14. And this sessional paper, one of the key policy pronouncements was expansion of the university sector. Why? When we finished high school, it was a cutthroat competition, whereby you are told, even if you have a B, the capacity that was there to accommodate students was limited. And because it was limited, very few students will make it. In fact, less than 10%. That was, at that time, it was, actually to be specific, it was 3% of the students transitioning from high school to university. Then the question is, among the discourse that we had was, how do we bridge the gap between education, youth unemployment, and security? And one of the key strategies, not only for Kenya, but for the whole of Africa, is how do we grow and expand the education sector to, at higher education, to be able to accommodate at least 10% to be able to motivate these youths and also give them an opportunity to be able to provide the required manpower in the society. So we invested heavily in coming up with universities in all the regions. That's from the initial 7 universities, that's the University of Nairobi, Kenyatta University, Maseno, Moi, Egerton,
yeah.
JKUAT, and which one? There was Masinde Muliro.
Yeah.
So we have to grow this, and we started by saying that we have additional universities. That was Dedan Kimathi, Kirinyaga, we have Murang'a, we have Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University, and then we had to come down to Southeastern Kenya University, Technical University of Mombasa, Technical University of Kenya, and then we went down to Garissa University that came on board. Now we have universities like Turkana is a university, Kibabii is a university, and this one has expanded opportunities for students to go to university. But there is something that is key. These universities have acted by their presence in each and every town as a catalyst for economic development.
Yeah, that's very true.
Because one, businesses have expanded. If you go, say, to a place like Southeastern Kenya University, a town has come up called Kwabonza, which is people are having accommodation for students, business is thriving, and the students are able to integrate with the community. And it's now provided more opportunities for people to do business, for people to get employed, and that is a big change. I went to a town like Bondo. Bondo used to be like a dead town. So now, if you go to Bondo, there's business 24 hours. Why? And then the place has grown. Go to a place like Turkana right now. Turkana is now the next place for fortune because of Turkana University, and other colleges have increased manifold. The TVET institutions were around 57, 60. Right now we have got more than 350 TVET institutions. And in each, and how this was done, in each and every constituency, we had element of establishing one technical training college. And this has given opportunity for many children who are remaining wasted in the villages and had lost hope to gain opportunity to get skills for meaningful employment. That's a plus. Because if you want a plumber, you can get a plumber from the village. If you want an electrician, you can get a qualified electrician from the village. And these are people who are contributing to the Kenyan economy. So if you take the Kenyan economy of where it was and where it is now, I think people are more informed. And by being more informed, we've seen, even in terms of the choice of the leaders they want in the society, is changing. They're electing people who have got ideas, who are able to articulate their interests and champion for the development within the society. So I think that's what we've done. And the influence we've had in Kenya did not remain in Kenya. When you look at the East African region, the higher education, having a common higher education platform for the entire of East African community also has become a reality. And this is because we now have a common East African qualification framework that has enabled mobility, not only for students, but even for faculty, and now entirely for all for labor mobility, and also for business across the borders. So we live and we look at it as our dream that is coming true. So that is for the East African region. But for the African region at the AU, also when you look at the education charter and look at what is being done, there's a lot that is contributed by the Kenyan as a country, right from the policies that we crafted and what we have lived up to. Remember, Kenya is the leading country investing in education with 27% of its GDP going towards education. If you compare that across the world, you can't get any.
Yeah, that's really true. I think from the policies that you put in place in expanding the universities, expanding the TVET, it has brought a lot of not a lot of I could say economic gains, not only in education but also in other sectors. It has just ballooned to other sectors now, and it's going to the East African region as the Kenyan as education system in Kenya is leading in expanding what you've said, the framework on how to.
When you look at the Vision 2030, you look at education in the social pillar as a catalyst for economic development.
Growth,
So there's no economic development without education. Because with education, we have the manpower required. Number two, education provides the market. Right now, when you talk about American first policy, we're looking at education. You have whatever you are discussing is about business. So education being a market for all the products. Because if it's an edutech solution, how many students are enrolled in Kenya? Maybe around 15 million. So if 15 million are enrolled on a digital education system, then you find that that shows that you are able to have this 15 million who are in real time making a contribution to the GDP in real time, because they are leveraging on technology and using the internet. The content that is being generated is being consumed in real time by how many?
15 million. So actually, let me just reframe this for the viewers to understand. To the policymakers, you see education as a form of like economic growth, economic catalyst, and this is the way that I'm going to reframe towards what we have here in the UK. As for example, an international student that you've come to the UK. First of all, from Kenya, you have to pay some money to the school. That's the way the university gets its own like source of revenue to the university. Number two, you have to pay like the visa fee, the insurance fee that goes to the health sector. So that's where the health sector has benefited from that one student. Then when you come here now, you have to rent. That's how this student has come here solely for education. But now it has expanded to other sectors now. Healthcare, you come to transport, you have to book a bus, you have to use a train. That's another part that all that money has gone all the way to that sectors of the economy. So from policymakers, you don't just see education as just that classroom thing. You just see it on all the all the other sectors of the economy.
When we discuss about education and you're an educationist, we look at one. First is the social benefits that come up with education. When you're educated, you're able to choose what to eat. So you're becoming healthy. One, as an education sector, you must have some resources for you to gain this education, just what you've listed. But now we have the economic benefits. When you finish education, you being employed, when you are producing a product, say you are an engineer, that's a big contribution. If you are an IT specialist and you have come up with and innovation. That's a whole transformation to the economy, because out of your innovation, there are very many spillover benefits that will come out of it. When it comes to the construction sector, I talked about those universities in the village. People are putting up hostels. So similarly, when students come to the diaspora, yes, to us, we look forward for the skills that you'll bring back home. That's a contribution to the economy. Secondly, if you're employed here in the diaspora, we celebrate the contribution that either you are sending money home,
The remittances that we
those
send home.
remittances that you send home, they're also supporting the economy. But we also worried that if you are coming here and you remain here and then you don't do anything, and we lose also. But there is also nowadays what you call the brain gain and the brain loss. So all in between, maybe the best talents, like say UK and America, they are shopping for talents. So that's a distortion, because if I invested in an engineer for 5 years at the University of Nairobi, and then instead of having this engineer within our economy, then this engineer comes to work for Google or Microsoft, yes, we'll be getting maybe 5-10% of his salary, but much of it is now to the retained here, because the most lucrative bit, you are given a green card, and then you are given a job, which is a good thing, because also as Kenyans, we are supposed to be to go global. That global experience and representation places us at a better place, because home will always remain to be the best. So those are the benefits of education. So we look at them from the social and the economic benefits that will accrue to you, either to you as an individual, to your family, or to our country.
That's and it has reminded me of the youngest university now in Kenya is the Samway, what is it called? Koitalel Samway University in Mosoria.
We have a university college of Kabarnet.
Okay, among the new ones.
We
Now,
look forward to have more as we go towards the election. You know, in the Education in the Universities Act, we committed that in each and every county there shall be established. So when you count the counties that do not have universities now, we have Trans Nzoia, we have Elgeyo
Marakwet, Pokot.
We have West Pokot, and then we have Marsabit, and then we have got, I think there are
very few
counties that are yet to have a university. But looking at the global trends, this expansion of universities have also had their own challenges, especially in terms of the quality of the human capital we require. Because for you to run a program in the university, maybe you need a professor as a dean, you need several PhD holders, 2 or 3 or 4 PhD holders, then you have the master students. But you see, with our regulations, we set up that we must have, for you to teach undergraduate, you must have either a master's or a PhD. So this expansion also has got its own challenges. The issues of cost of university education also has been there. But I like it because our president, in his commitment, has made it that he's going to increase funding towards university education, so that we can have every student accessing university education for free. But we look forward that this is going to be a heavy investment, but it's the best way forward to go.
Yeah, before we come to that new model of funding that the president illustrated the other day, like the downside of this expansion of these universities, could it be like you produce a lot of qualified people, but outside here there is no much jobs and stuff? That's why the unemployment rate is high in our country.
I think that's a traditional way of thinking about why you go to school, that you go to school so that you can be, someone can employ you. But also you can go to school knowing very well that you are going to school for a program that is meaningful, so that you can also engage in production, like being self-employed. Why is the main role of us in education sector is to provide education, training, research, and innovations, or do the outreach. Then the economy, based on where we are, is supposed to expand. But the private sector is not expanding at the same pace with the education sector. So you realize that the opportunities for employment are limited, whereas we are producing, but we are producing for who? That's why our universities are now being compelled to think about a competency-based education program and education training, so that when they are engaging and offering a program, it should be market-oriented, so that you must be collaborating with industry to produce graduates who will be engaged within the market.
So do you think competency-based curriculum is the way to go?
What is the alternative to you? The train has already left, and if you want to if you want to compete globally, that is the way to go. When we started the competence education and embracing that pedagogy, we knew of the challenges that were bedeviling our education system. So if you ask the Kenyan community today, or a parent, if you have a brother or a sister, and you ask them what could be the difference between this 844 and this CBC, they'll tell you, these children are able to think on their own. They're able to find a solution to a problem on their own. Through competence-based education, children are able to acquire the required skills, the required competencies, but something more. It is a value-based education system. If you are in a car and you have an 844 graduate, the chances of this dropping a paper or a bottle, waste bottle on the road are very high, which will not be the case with an 844. With a CBC, they will say, no, you are destroying the environment. So through the competence-based education, children are able to learn how to communicate, how to collaborate, and coexist peacefully. Children are able to embrace use of digital gadgets in real time, which was not the case with 844. You wait to finish school to go pick offered one course in computer. But here we have a system that offers you all the necessary competencies required for the future work. So if you are to prepare yourself towards a digital economy with a person who is responsive to the market dynamics, then the competency-based education is the way to go. And it's a success story. When we started, we were told locally how impossible it is.
There was a lot of backlash.
As a head of the Director of Policy and Partnership, you listen to people, you go to meetings, you talk less, because there is a principle I was listening to recently about a deaf frog. If you have to go and achieve and accomplish your journey, you have to keep going and don't listen to the noise in the environment. Because at the end of the day, right now, people are able to appreciate and say, okay, yes, I think this is the way to go. If other countries in the region have come to benchmark with us, Tanzania tried it, they never made it, they gave up. South Africa tried it, they never made it, they gave up. But as a country, we are now in grade
grade 8 or 7.
Because next year we'll be having our last
844
class.
Yeah.
So Rome was not built in one day, but one step at a day. And if you keep going, then definitely you will see a change in society. So what matters is the consistency in terms of the political goodwill to finance the education system, because you require the resources. Each and every day, there are challenges that come our way. Like today, when you talk about teaching of technical subjects, we are aware that we need to have a pool of teachers who are going to teach this particular subject. Even if you're talking about sports, we must have teachers to be upskilled to be able to teach these particular learning areas. And that is something that you address as you go. But with time, we're going to perfect the system once it is. And every time we keep reviewing it to accommodate the challenges and address the challenges as they come. So where we've reached as a country, I think we're on the right track. And when you look at the education system here in the UK, it's a competency-based
It's actually CBC.
education. And luckily, last year, we had a team to benchmark with Ofsted here through the British Council, which is making a contribution. Within the education diplomacy, we also have to do our reports and see how can we improve on our education system and bring in people to benchmark, say, with the education system in the US. But I've also come to realize that people have got a lot of confidence with our education system, especially with the US importing STEM teachers from Kenya.
That's why there's a lot of influx of teachers
Last
to
week,
the US.
we were receiving more than 750 teachers who are coming to teach STEM subjects in the US as education ambassadors. So at the end of the day, then this gives me the assurance and the confidence that one, we are in a transition, but at the end of the day, we are on the right track.
Yeah.
So competence-based education is the way to go, and that's what the community should embrace.
But going back to that qualification of teachers, actually, education system in Kenya, I think is the best education system that I think as a country we have, and it's recognized globally. Here in the UK, right now, since last year to date, they're taking physics teachers. If you're a physics teacher and you're in Kenya, you just come in directly. You're given scholarship. You're just taught what you call some qualifications to teach here just for 1 year, and you're given full scholarship with stipends every month. And you just come. Then after that, you go to teaching straight away. So it shows that the way we're going as a country in the education sector is something that is recognized globally. The way you've said, also teachers are going to the US. Also in Australia again, we have teachers that are going there all day, all night. Teachers are going there. So the education system in Kenya is actually grown. So last bit of that before we go to the other role of your role in the embassy. Just give us in brief, just in summary, how the diplomacy between Kenyan education and the West. Just a brief. Because in your qualification, in your introduction there, you talked about leadership,
So
talked about policy making and education diplomacy.
So we talk about the education diplomacy. The main reason of having missions and embassies is to promote. One is you project and promote the interests of Kenya in the diaspora and secure our independence in terms of as we discuss about education diplomacy here, we are looking at how do we remain competent globally, so that we can have education as a means not only for enhancing our social well-being, but for economic empowerment. So we advance our interests by seeking collaborations in training and research. How does this happen? Through collaborations between institutions of higher learning and research institutions. So if these institutions are able to come together, they're able to either offer joint training or they're able to offer opportunities for Kenyans to come and study. And even our Kenyan universities offer them opportunity to come and study our Kenyan culture and our African culture.
Like the exchange programs, student exchange programs.
So we have, those are training, and then you have got the exchange programs. So you have the exchange programs, we focus on faculty, that is the teaching, and the research faculty exchanging. And at the same time, we look at the student mobility, being able to move from the north to the south. And then another very important thing is that we have in education is the employment, like what we've just discussed about seeking for opportunities for Kenyan ambassador teachers to come have an experience within the north, either within Europe, within US, so that when they go back, they're able to pass on the same global experience to our Kenyan students. And also in research, we also have got research projects that are heavily funded by the either foundations or companies in the UK or in the US. Why? Is because Africa has got a big population because of its demographic dividend in terms of the population. Then it presents itself as a market for the products by this particular produced by these particular companies. So for them to design and produce these particular products, they're engaged in continuous research, and this is achieved through institutions of higher learning. So which are, when you go to Bill Gates Foundation, Ford Foundation, they fund all these companies engaged, say, in medical products. They heavily fund research that is undertaken by our research institutions in Kenya, whether you are going to Cambridge, whether you're going to the University of Nairobi, whatever institutions, area and all that. So through these research collaborations, then also as a country, we've realized that Kenyans are able to be engaged as a research assistants, as lead investigators, and also there's the element of bringing in real time equipment with the latest technologies within our territories and sharing these particular research facilities wherever they are needed. Another key thing is education also plays a key in security. So wherever we've had issues like in the region, we've had education as a unifying factor. So we leverage on education also to advance our diplomacy by saying that if we have children in displacement, then these children are attended to in real time. So Kenya, remember, is a host to persons in displacement, either because of conflict or other issues that are hosted within our refugee camps, within Dadaab and in Kakuma. And Kenya has embraced them, and through the refugee education policy and other instruments that have been put in place for us to continue to offer this. And this is also recognized globally as a big plus. So in terms of diplomacy, also we look for funding opportunities for our students. And this comes in through support, either when you come in as a teaching assistant or a research assistant, or even for a bachelor's degree on scholarship. In UK here, we have a very good collaboration where through the Commonwealth, we usually get more than 100 scholarships, and the government continues to fund. through British Council, we've also had very good support for our literacy programs funded by UK Aid. And the Lego Foundation was able to support the project under the GPE by giving us more than 10 million US dollars, which is a big plus. So at the end of the day, through education diplomacy, we are able to secure funding to support our education system, our research ecosystem, get scholarships for our students, and continue also to secure opportunities for our faculty members to come and work here in the diaspora. We also have got issues to do with the health sector, where the West is heavily depending on health workers from Kenya, which is also a big plus. So we also engage in negotiations to come up with instruments of agreement that recognize and secure the rights of employees who are coming from Kenya to come and work in the diaspora. And what also is done is promoting our cultural that's cultural diplomacy in terms of through the cultural diplomacy, we are able to promote issues of tourism and our securing of our artifacts within the museums, either in the northern region as well as what is repatriated back to our country. So we're able to celebrate our identity and ensure that we keep ourselves afloat. Another key issue is sports, because through education we're also engaging in sports diplomacy, whereby Kenya has remained to be a lead when it comes to athletics, but also they're also emerging in other sport areas of sports. They're also competing favorably. And remember, I also talked about technology, whereby our students from Kenya are able to participate and showcase within the Silicon Valley and other innovative global innovation exhibitions and competitions. So at the end of the day, that is what we are engaged in, seeing it that we champion one, to ensure that we are not looking at aid, but we are looking at partnerships. Right. So we are no longer going to go, we are not going in for aid, we are going in for partnership, we are going in for business. Because when you look at education sector in Kenya, as I talked about, say, when people talk about AI now, if you have 15 million Kenyans and you have an education system which is leveraging on AI, or a digitized education system leveraging on AI in teaching, it's also a business case for these particular companies that are based here in the north or in the west. So this is real-time trade exchange between Kenya and the governments in the west, but at the same time seeing into that our workforce that comes to the US are able also to contribute through their remittances to our country as we export. So I think maybe that's what I can comment for now.
Yeah, on the diplomacy, it has opened my eye on many factors that have touched on the experiences that I have on that point of diplomacy. But I'm just going to mention them. You've talked about employment, the cooperation of employment between now the nurses, the doctors, the teachers that you've said on the terms and conditions of work, even the vets. Yeah. When you apply to move, for example, there's that opportunity now through the office and the office of the diaspora, for example, in the UK or in the US. They have given that opportunity for Kenyans to apply to come for the jobs through your office or through other means. During the visa application process, there is a lot of, I could say, a lot of money that is required now. Through now the embassy or through your office, could it be possible on that diplomacy part, some fees to be scrapped off? For example, the IHS fee here in the UK. We have some countries that don't pay, but we Kenyans, we pay. But I think through diplomacy and through something through your office, that fees can be scrapped off to make it easy for more people to come.
Thank you so much. I think I think it's a global practice. There are certain, because even if you are from the UK and you are coming to work in Kenya, you must have a work permit, and there are certain levies that are legislated within that country that are supposed to be paid for.
Yeah.
But as a country, now we have got the National Employment Authority. So with the National Employment Authority, so we look at the labor agreements. So through the labor agreements with the UK, with the US, so we have, if we dedicate a specific labor agreement, then we can look at some of the waivers that can be included within the same, so that you can be listed among the countries that can benefit from such. But one of the key things that I remember most, that as a director of policy that we are discussing most, was the element of English. You know, Kenya is not listed as an English-speaking country. And remember, Britain was our colonial master. And much of the education system we inherited, instruction is in English. But if you have to come here, most of them have to go through the English test. So the argument has been, yes, let's see how we can remove this so that you can have Kenya listed as an English-speaking country. And that's a discussion that is still ongoing, even when it comes to the US. But in the US, we are able to demonstrate and show them this is it. So as you speak about the issues of labor, yes, we have specific countries, because in the US, most of the paperwork, even here in the UK, is done by the agencies. So the agencies must fulfill all the requirements for them to employ you here in the UK.
But those requirements that are given to the agencies,
yes, so
can be waived through your office.
So that is higher. It's higher, because it's something that has to go to. It cannot be just be done at the embassy level, but it's something that we have to consider, and that's why I've said, like, now that we have our National Employment Authority, we have got the policy in place for export of employees and all that, and we have also put our own conditions. One of the unique conditions that we are saying is that the repatriation fee, you have to deposit it before you take a Kenyan to come and work in the UK. So those are some of the issues that people have started to put in place because of the experience we've had with the Middle East. But for us to ensure that you fulfill the requirements of the host state, maybe specific labor agreement with the United States is what we can foot for. So that in our next discussions, then we can look at all these particular conditions, but they may not give for all, because when it comes to Britain, they will say Britain first. So whatever you'll be coming to do here, maybe should be of their interest, so that they can give the waiver. Because the most important discussion that is ongoing now is, yes, let's build your capacity, but go provide employment, those skills that are required in your country. So as we discussing about, yes, us remaining here, remember we need you back at home, but it's something that we are going to consider when it comes to crafting of the labor agreement between Kenya and the UK and the US and Australia. But those are historical issues that have been there, but they are issues that can be put to consideration going forward.
So that needs to be changed, because for example, you said there's some labor agreements, there's some conditions that, for example, a person in the UK wants to go work in Kenya, there are some conditions that they should meet. There's some fees and levies that they should pay. But if you compare the other way around, they don't match. It's much easier for them to go back there than for us to come back here. So that's something that should be worked on. And I'm just mentioning this about artifacts. You talked about our heritage and our culture, the artifacts there. So just in brief, just as a yes or no, is it possible, for example, we've gone to museums here, I've gone to museum in Manchester, and I've seen some artifacts that are from eastern part of Africa, East Africa. Is it possible that from the office of the embassy, is it possible to bring those artifacts back home? Like if you've gone to Manchester, you've seen like a sword or something there. Like, for example, the most controversial thing is the head of Koitalel somewhere. Is it possible to take it back?
I think those are the Koitalel issue is something that is been discussed for some time, and I think we leave for the decisions to be made at that particular level. But the most important thing is, even you where you are an ambassador. And being an ambassador, first, you are a symbol of Kenya. You know, if something happens to you today, and if you did something controversial, they will not look at you as Daniel. In fact, Daniel as a name will not go out there. A Kenyan. And remember that this one Daniel would have ruined a lot for all the Kenyans who are not only in the UK, but those who like to come to the UK. So you are the symbol. You are the first ambassador. So you must hold this flag very high so that we can promote our cultural identity. How do you promote our cultural identity? If today you are coming from home and you have got bracelets, give them out freely. A Briton will be very happy to put on a bracelet and say, I got this from
a Kenyan.
And we identify ourselves. Because you can imagine if this young child grows up and he becomes the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, he'll be remembering this bracelet about Kenya. And most of the time, we don't go to this table, but people identify with us by who we are and what we do as a country. Our culture is iconic. Last weekend, I was with the Ma diaspora community. So when you go to the Ma diaspora community on Citizen and all those, you would see the former ambassador of the US to Kenya, Renbacker, talking passionately about our Kenyan culture. If today you went for a job, what would you be representing if you have a Kenyan, someone from South Africa, someone from Nigeria, someone from Ghana, and you are competing for the job? If there is this young person who had a bracelet from Kenya, who will you pick?
They'll pick a Kenyan.
And why do you think they'll pick Kenyan? Being honest, being resilient, being passionate, and hardworking.
That's true. That's true from the experiences that I've seen.
The presence of our sword in these museums is iconic. So those artifacts are real. But you also look at today, if Kenya, I was challenging even the governor and the leadership. Initially, we had a whole dream of putting up a national museum somewhere in Kajiado, which was to be very big and magnificent because of the funding we had received, so that you can have all this preserved. Why? There's a museum I visited in Northern Carolina, and if you look at the Turkana boy, how many people visit that museum just to see the Turkana boy and the story behind it, and people going there to listen to it? So many. How much are they getting? A lot of money for people who have visited that particular museum. So our challenge is, can we set up and preserve and document and preserve our Kenyan culture? And that is going to be very key for us. So the only difference that we should be discussing is, yes, these artifacts are there in these museums. How are these museums plowing back part of what they have got to support in preservation of our culture and contribute even to the well-being of the societies which these artifacts are fetched from? So that is something that we can maybe think about and say, yes, you can keep the head of Koitalel, but as undocument and allow a Kenyan to give a narrative about this. Because we are saying, let Kenyans tell their story. So if you see if a Kenyan is employed there to be giving the story about that head, to me, it will be much more positive than taking the head to Eldoret where even nobody will visit to see the head. So if it is here and people are able to visit,
So it's much important when
how
it's here than when
strategic
it's,
is it?
yeah.
And how people are going.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, remember our presence here in the diaspora. One, you came as individuals, yes, but you are the first ambassadors. You must keep our flag high by ensuring that you retain our identity and ensure you abide by the laws of the host country. When we respect them, and they will love us, and make good use of each and opportunity you have been given. Show your resilience and the hard work, and be smart. When you succeed, you've planted a seed for another Kenyan, and you have enhanced the trust for the host to other Kenyans. So I think that's what you need to do, because if you say, okay, there is an ambassador, there is staff, then we are not present all over. But wherever you are,
Yeah.
represent Kenya.
Right.
If you can actively represent us in an innovation, do it. If you can run, do it. If you can play, do it. If you can dance, do it.
Yeah.
But ensure you keep our flag high. So I think that's the most important clarion call to all of us who are here in the diaspora.
Now let's go to another segment now. What does Education Attache actually do? Just in brief.
The Education Attache does is just what we just discussed in promoting the Kenya's interests in education, training, research, and innovation. And because we are limited in terms of the staff, there are other responsibilities that come along. Like I do issues of sports, issues of culture, and ensure that where Kenyan students are, I'm there for them.
Yeah.
So if we can get scholarships for the Kenyan students, that's number one call. And when these students arrive, just giving them a welcome and guiding them on how they can settle down and be able to engage in the new environment within the new setup. When they are in hardship, be there for them and support them. As you said, some of them are not aware of the consular services that we offer. Right. So those are the issues that we support and ensure that we facilitate their well-being and be the advocate in most of the cases. When they are celebrating their graduation, be there for them, and that's the reason why we are here today, so that we can celebrate together. Other things that students work for is to link up the students with the Kenyans in the diaspora. Because when you come from home, you come as an individual. But these students are supposed to fit within the Kenyan community in the diaspora. So linking them up with this community, they provide mentorship for them, they provide support for them is also key. But above all, these students also, at some point, they need to go for internship. They need to get a place where they can maybe do their OPT. They need to get employed. So you link them up with the Kenyan diaspora and this Kenyan community in the diaspora is able to network and see how they can support this student from being a student and helping the student even to transition to the workplace within the diaspora. So that is those are some of the key issues that we look at, and any issues to do with the documentation, I think that's something that we can also discuss.
So those are actually the services that a Kenyan student can get through the embassy and the office of the education attache, the one that you've mentioned. Another question that I want to ask, and you can just clarify this: what are some of the scholarship applications, scholarship opportunities that now a Kenyan can have, specifically in the US?
There are so many opportunities in the US,
Yeah.
but these opportunities are packaged within the institutions because unlike the UK, where we have all universities having funding from the UK government through a Commonwealth scholarship, in the US there is no specific funding, but the funding goes through the universities, and if they are program based, if there is a Kenyan scholar who has got a research project and needs a research assistance, so he floats it out. And when you go to each and every university in America, they will give you the application requirements and where you can get what? Support for financing your education. That is one of the channels. So you can get them specifically within the universities because the scholarships are university based. So when we are discussing and negotiating with the universities, say, for example, we have got a university in Pennsylvania with collaborating with universities in Kenya. So one of the issues that we document, one is the scholarship, two research assistant positions, three teaching assistant positions, so that when we have these opportunities lined up for Kenyans, then they are able to be offered. So you apply for them directly. There are also organizations that have been set up which fundraise for money from foundations. KenSAP is one of them. So students also are encouraged to look at what are the available opportunities. And what I'm doing currently is to see how we can have within our website, within the education portal, whereby we can list these are the opportunities. However, within the organizations, associations for the Kenyans in the diaspora, we have these opportunities being advertised on daily basis and being told, yes, we have this opportunity here, can we have Kenyans apply? Then we have got the IEP, also Fulbright scholarships also are also available. So when you go to apply for Fulbright scholarship, they give you the requirements, how to apply and all that. So most of the Kenyans who have come to America have applied for these scholarships directly to these particular institutions and organizations. And then once you meet the requirements, then you are you get the admission and you are supported. However, you need to be very cautious and get to know what are the details of these particular scholarships, because you see that's something that people look at and they don't look at it in details. Because what the scholarship entails, maybe someone will say tuition waiver, but tuition waiver and you're coming to pay international fees may be quite different things that you need to reflect on and know whether, as a parent, you'll be able first to ensure the student has got accommodation because of the cost of living. That is the bit that people forget about, because you forget about the tuition waiver that you have been given, and then you focus on the tuition waiver that you have been given, then you forget about the living costs. So those are the issues that we are trying to enlighten Kenyans and telling them, yes, as much as this student is coming on this particular partial scholarship or full scholarship, we also to look at it deeply and know what does it entail. But it's good to be aware that like in the American space, the funding and the budget allocation to the education sector is shrinking. They have experienced budget cuts. And even our students who are on scholarship that are who are running before the change of government, some of them have experienced challenges receiving their stipend. So these are the challenges that you've had mobilizing the Kenyan community in the diaspora to support these particular students so that the students can complete. And then another element is that when you come to the diaspora, you also you have to be very careful in terms of the student loans. So that you ensure that you are supported and guided accordingly, so that when you get student financing loan, it has to be, their terms and conditions must be very favorable. So the opportunities are there when you come. Some of them are full scholarships, well supported, especially in areas of STEM. That is in engineering, in technology. Those scholarships are quite there. Being a researcher in health sector, those scholarships are there. But at the end of the day, ensure that Kenyans must look at the terms and conditions of each and every scholarship, but go beyond the scholarship and look at the living costs. When this student is coming to this particular city, what will be the cost of rent? And how will the student go to college? Those are the challenges that have never been looked into. But the opportunities are there. It's up to us to go online and search for those opportunities, but we are going to make it simple, download them and put them within the portal so that the Kenyans can access.
So we're going to, so it's much easier when it's in one portal, then everybody can access just from one portal. Everybody can be able to use the portal and download all the scholarship opportunities that are there.
Yes, we'll try to make them available, but you see, accessing the portal is one thing, because people are busy on social media.
But if somebody wants to,
but if you want to get this information, you just,
is there a specific portal that's ready now that we can just share to people that can find those scholarship opportunities?
In the Kenyan scholars diaspora in the US and the students portal, they're there.
So
scholarships being shared.
Kenyan scholars.
I think we can share with you the link.
So we'll just share the link, then I'll tag on
then they can also, then Kensap is there. When you go to Kensap has been there for quite a while. So you may take more time if Kenyans are conned and they don't get those particular scholarships, because you have to really, I think, let Kenyans look for this. We tell them this information is there, but we may not really enlist some of those private initiatives. But you can make them available. Just making them aware this is available. If you want to go to Australia, yes, people will tell you. Remember, there is very official portal of how to go to Australia, but also there are private initiatives.
There's some,
So those private initiatives are there, but they are built on trust. So for now, I think we don't have the official one. The official one is the Fulbright, which
Fulbright. We'll see. But I think also these politicians from Kenya, sometimes I could say, in lack of a better word, wanachoma. For example, the one Mandago and Wasingishu did, it was a very good initiative that could have helped a lot of people. But now, with the greed of politicians and stuff, everything goes.
I don't think it will be good to discuss that here, because number one, I respect all the leaders, because we are who we are because of them, of the policies they make, the legislations they make. Two, the attempt they had to get for the Kenyans. And in each and every business, there are hiccups here and there, but it's good to really be cautious on what you do. So when for example, if this recruitment, it's all about trust. There are people who apply, they come. There are people who don't get it.
Some fake recruitment agencies as well.
So it's not even fake recruitment agencies. You can be a recruitment agency, but the employer you are working for did not fulfill the promise. But that is there. But another thing you need to make Kenyans aware is the element of the giga jobs, online jobs. I think those are real. And I think our president has excelled in that, linking up Kenyans to work virtually from where they are. There are companies in the US who've recruited very many Kenyans who are working virtually for them from Kenya. Why? Is because it is cheaper to get a Kenyan based in Kenya to work for a company here in the UK or in the US. So you can also see how innovatively you can establish something. Then you look for employers, you list the jobs, then you get people to work for them virtually, but guarantee their payment. So that is another opportunity that people are leveraging on. Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Now, on the other segment, we are nearing our conclusion. There's another segment that we always have in our podcast that we call the quick fire round. It's just random answer, yes or no question, just brief ones that I'll just ask. The round just five questions that I'm just yes or no. One book that every young person should read. Just one book that anyone could recommend anybody to read, because you're a scholar and I know you are a good reader.
I just tell you to read the Bible.
The Bible.
The Bible has had answers for me.
One habit that contributed most to your success.
Prayer.
One leadership lesson that you've learned.
You need to listen to people.
Just listen. Okay. If you could change one thing about Kenyan's education system, what could it be?
I think it's just the culture.
The culture.
Because to me, we have a system which is not working because of how things were set up. It's a bad culture.
One piece of advice to every Kenyan living abroad. Raise our flag really high. Yeah. What legacy would you like to leave in the office of the education attache?
Many Kenyans, students, come to the diaspora and thrive.
That's brilliant. So that's it. So now, what's your final remarks as we conclude this one? We'll be linking, just to let our viewers know that we will be linking the KenSAP, the Fulbright website on our bio, so that whenever you are, you can be able to just go in there, do the see on the scholarship opportunities that are there for you in the US and all over the world as well. So if you, I believe if you've been a good listener, the way he said, be a good listener, that's a leadership skill that I've learned. So if you're a good listener, you'll have denoted some good things, that good lessons that you're supposed to learn, and all through is going to guide you on our journeys. And if you want to get and explore the world outside here, there's a lot of opportunities that as he had already mentioned. So what is your last words to our viewers today?
To realize your dream, never settle.
To realize your dream, never settle. Yeah, that's a very big word. If you understand it well, it's a very big one, because if you're in a comfort zone, you won't realize that dream. So you have to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. And there is no comfort zone. The biggest lie is success. Because success is never permanent. It's dynamic. It's never defined. So you cannot say, okay, nimefika. When you say, I have arrived, there are other factors that will be in motion to displace you. So you have to keep moving. So you have to keep walking for you to realize your dream. So never settle. If you want to realize it, you have to keep moving. So there is opportunity for improvement each and every day. So you continuously work on yourself to be a better person. And to be a better person, just put a smile on another person next to you. So
thank you, Mr. Lumbasi. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your journey, your passion for education. We truly appreciate your time and the valuable insights that you've given to our audience. To everyone watching, thank you so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this, so that it can be able to help someone, a Kenyan someone there can benefit from this conversation. As always, is always Roots and Routes with Daniel. Until next time, keep believing, keep learning, keep building your journey. Thank you so much.